Yes, a wonderful good afternoon. Yes, out of Zurich. Yes. Oh, praise God. Hallelujah. Yes. A wonderful good afternoon to those who are watching. I would be so glad that a few of you join me online, even though I know many may have been sleeping or don't have the time to follow me at this time. But I am here to present to you again my book, Married to a Bishop. I have the copy here. It's a very small book, but it has a lot of content in it. It's, yes, smaller than I had expected it to be, but it has a lot of great content inside. Married to a Bishop. Yes. And I got it today. And here's here. For those who want to order a copy, you can go on stellar.co. It's Mount Olive, I'll spell Mount Olive, on stellar.co. And you can go on it and get your copy. Yes. I've got here some here. And those who want to purchase it from me, it will cost you a little bit more, but you can download it from stellar.co and you can have the book. You can have the what do you call it, like a download on your phone, your iPad, and all like that. And those who want to purchase it from me, it will cost you also shipping price and everything, right? So here I can say I've got the book in my hand. I thank God for this book. Thank God for it. It should have been a little bit more thicker than this, but let me leave that out of the equation right now and let us discuss what is in this book, Married to a Bishop. For those of you who are in ministry, this is something that you should have. A copy of this you should have in your hand. Married to a bishop, you're married to the person in the position in the church. And this has some good content inside of it, yes. So therefore, let me congratulate myself. I'm the author of this, yes. And I got it published somewhere. And Married to a Bishop, it gives a profound truth in the daily realities of what happened in marriages while being in ministry, from the endless stories of faith, humor, tragedy, sickness, victories, success, so much more is packed in this little book here. Yes, misconception and facts, myth and question that have never been answered or clarified can be found. So I want anybody who ordered this book to know that you are on for a ride where you can say, buckle your seatbelt. And I'm looking forward to publish another copy of this said book, or to make this a little bit bigger. Yes, because there's a lot more that I can really emphasize into this book here. So to those of you who are watching me online, you can download it and read through. Support a worthy cause. Support this book here. Support. You're not really supporting me when I said support this book because I wrote it. You're not supporting me. No. I'm doing this because I want to reach and impact a lot of us out there who have so much misconception about when we are married to someone that is in ministry, or we are married, or my husband is a bishop, and a lot of us has pushed the woman aside. And so some of you would say, oh, my wife is a pastor in the church and stuff like that. So on this note, I'm saying, I'm reaching out to every one of us who are sitting in the seat there and being leaders in the church, women alike and men. If we read, and you'd read a lot of stuff in this. I'm gonna read a few stuff out of the book, not the entirety of the book, because I want you to support this book. I really want you to support it. I really want you to be a part of empowering yourself, that you want to be a better version of yourself in every part of your life, in ministry, or just sitting down in the congregation and viewing the pastor's wife, which you call the first lady, and stuff like that. So I want us to be really focus on what I've placed in this small little book. It's like a nugget. I just want to thank and acknowledge, let me just say acknowledged, because this book is really dedicated to my husband. It's dedicated to my husband, as well as my children, my grandchildren, my great-grands, my siblings, and my godchildren. The ministry on a whole, Mount Olive Tabernacle Ministries International. And, I really am thankful to an unwavering support, I must say, of the Most Reverend Thomas F. Henry. He's my patriarch in the church of the Apostolic Communion of Churches, Congress of Apostles and Bishops, and Christian Light Cathedral in Atlanta, Georgia. And another man that I found really synced in me a lot of stuff, and it was Dr. Shegum Oshinega of the Inspiration Network in Nigeria. And also here, the Migration Church here, the Reformed Church. And let me just also acknowledge the person who helped me to really publish this book, even though we fell out because of certain things. But Joshua Ben of the Revival Publishers Group in Nigeria. And I just want to be thankful to all. There's a lot of folks I could have been put out there that I can mention that have been a great impact in my life. But in the ministry, being a woman in ministry, these are the people I can say that I can really have as a backbone to really they have pushed my journey ahead and helped me to really stand even in difficult moments. And being a woman in ministry, I can say that a lot of times we are pushed back. We are really pushed back. And I also thankful to now he's Bishop Reverend Scott Rigby. Like a son to me, so I would put him in, So I am thankful to God for the various men and women that I've come across. Yes, but to comprise this book, I'm truly honored by God and my husband. Because we're married, we're in ministry. We talk about the first ladies in the church, or the first ladies. We never really talk about the gentlemen or the husbands who are married to women in the position in the church, because it seems as if the men are always there or not there. Just let it put like that. And these are some of the things I'm really truly honored to put together in this book. So I'm just encouraging someone out there to get a copy of this book. If you want to purchase a copy from me, as I said before, it will be involving the shipment price, the fee for the books. And so you have to inbox me and we can discuss about this. Or you could download it on cellar.com where you'd have to, .co, where you'd have to pay also to have a copy of this that you can read on your phone, your tablet, your computer, anywhere you want to go with it. It has some really, when I did the writings and everything, I still had to go back and really ask myself if I did really wrote this. It's not copy and paste. This is directly from my heart out there, you know, because let me just give you a little bit of things about happening in marriage today, where couples in ministry and with a special attention to those with a pioneering mandate. Sometimes those who are called into this office suffer many things: abused, pressures, accusation, loneliness, and a continuous lack and insufficient comfort from both internal and external factors. The local church at times, and I'm speaking this out there for everybody to get. The local church at times are really being bombarded with questions and place and being marginalized. Let's just put it like that. And where do we come from? What do we look for? How do we guard ourselves without even walking around with bodyguards? You know, and low funding, and yet still the mandate of being in the ministry. And likewise, as I said, the bishop, it's literally should have been bishop's spouse, but married to a bishop is a good way to put it across, because being married to the bishop, you can be either male or female, though a lot of scholars and who so call themselves scholars have turned the Paulinus gospel into what they have chosen it to be. When we're talking about what Christ, our God himself, had laid down as a fundament for us to walk into this priesthood and to lead his people towards a better life, and to the acknowledgement that Christ, the Holy Spirit, is all one and the same. So therefore, in this book, I try to put together the negligence in the home, the negligence in the ministry. And when you're married to a spouse, let me say you're married to the wife, you're married to the husband, or the husband is married to you. Let's just turn it around any way we want to fit. We are married and you're in the ministry. And what ought to be at the top, the realistic of it. I'm not talking about no imaginary things and if it's supposed was to be like that and all of this. I'm talking about the reality, the facts that you're living together in the home. And now you are also what they call the leader in the church. And therefore, what is the mandate? How you work together, being husband and wife in ministry. This is what this book is about. The wears and the tears that we have to bring to the table. It's not like going again and cutting anything. It's the wears and the tears that have destroyed ministry for a long while. It has destroyed the ministry. Wives don't know their position. Husbands don't know their position. This kind of thing that destroys the ministry. And, you know, it takes place. It's not, you say, the wear and tear to bring to the table. It may or may not take place now, but we got to bring it to the table. And we got to begin somewhere so that the family, which is the real church, can remain together in a world to understand the gospel of Jesus Christ, just as the Holy Scriptures instructed in Matthew 5:16. So you see, we got to shine our light so the world can see not on ourselves as factors, but on Christ, to glorify the work that he has done. And so to be married and to be partners together in ministry, it's not about flaunting ourselves out there for one to see that I'm married, or I'm a bishop and I'm married. No. Or to want to say the woman can't do this in the ministry. It's time that we throw away this nonsense and begin to look at the real deal of what Christ has created us for. So in this book, I have, I've mentioned about, and this is one of the things, men will listen to you, but they will trust you when what you say can be seen in your life than merely preaching or teaching it. It has nothing to do with one side. It has to do with the two sides of a coin. And the bishop also has to ensure that is a diocesan priest or have the means to sustain their spiritual, emotional, and intellectual life. So you see, it's not one, it's both. It's both sides. If you are uneasy and unhappy, unsteady, unstable in your home, it affects the ministry. If you're callous, careless, down, you don't care nothing, you're just there, you're not sober-minded, it affects the ministry. It affects the ministry. If you being the bishop's spouse and you're at home and there's all the time an argument, who is right and who is wrong, and nobody sets the pace to say, let's work this thing out together, it affects the ministry. So I sort of put this in concept in the book for us to get to know each other outside of the ministry and inside of the ministry. When a bishop takes up the work of the ministry, his or her entire family are supposed to go along. If your family is somewhere and are not doing right, it affects you in the ministry. I'm sure a lot of you heard about the PK kids. They are the ones that give a lot of problems. The PK, when it talks about the PK's wife, the PK's husband, they all make a part of the ramble and the shackles that are destroying the ministry. So I try to get into that. I try to also help us to understand the quality of a bishop. A lot of you will say, oh, it's just a man. It's just a man to do this. It's and all that. And open up the roles to you to show you how it is. And these are some of the contexts I've placed here inside. A mutual balance can be obtained to allow the ministries to flow. We're living in a time and a generation now that every eyes are on you. As a bishop in the Lord's church, every eyes are on you. Wherever your family is, wherever your spouse is, it's on you. Whatever you say, whatever you do, where you go, it's on you. How the congregant react, how the congregation turn over the place, any way you want to put it, it reflects on you. And so I try to let us to understand the unique position that we are placed in without being cantankerous. You see, I try to put in a part where we can talk about the Presbyterian, the Presbyterian, the presby, and the word, and the where it comes from, what it means, how we ought to work together. The presbyteros, the meaning, the elders, for us to understand our stand. I'll give a little example. I've asked a bishop to send me in something, and I put this in, you know, according to his wording of how the wife supports him and stuff like that. I've took in testimonies also from my own husband, and I put this in the book so one can understand, you know. And then I allow one to understand, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen this on my Facebook page. In the kingdom, serving, the art of serving is not just for women, it's for everybody. In the kingdom of God, it's not just for the woman to get up and, no, it's for everybody. There's a servitude, a servitude that comes with he who have breath. Let everything that has breath. It's a servitude. I don't know how to put it to you for you to understand it more than it's a servitude. Where do you stand? If you're being a bishop, whether man or woman, and you can't talk to your spouse, there's no mutual understanding between both. It bothers the church, the local church, your local community. Let me just put it like that. You see, because a lot of you keep on pushing the blame on one side, but it's both sides. And I also try to remind us that God doesn't mind choosing a man or a woman to get his work done. So we ought to stop railing against each other and combine our ideas to defeat the enemy. So I put all of this in the same little book here for all of us to get through to it, you know, and don't allow your family to break or tear apart because you are married to a bishop. There's a lot of stuff, you know, I could put through, and you know, and again, to show wives, the ladies out there who are so keen on being themselves and saying that they want to be, but you're married to a man of the cloth. To let you also realize, not just, and even those who are out there who are not married to anybody that is in the church, that married, let's say, as a pastor, a deacon, or evangelist, or what, this book can really help you in your home. You know, I talk about the factors of husband can also show weakness, despite he being the head. God bless you, Bishop Jordan III. You know, and how to show you how our neighbor made that mistake and showing up his weaknesses, and Abigail, who would have said she was supposed to stay home and look after the babies, cook the food in the kitchen and all that, how she had run to assist him in a time when the king, that was King David, could have taken a drastic measure against Nabal because of the ignorances of his action. So therefore, I put a little bit inside a note to show that our husband at times can show weaknesses. They're humans. And sometimes in marriage, the experience of it can be rough. We are learning each other's ways and teaching each other's our own way of how to walk in the precepts of God and in the limelight of what He's called us to be in the ministry. So I'm really asking you to support this book. And I'm trying to show you that at times there are lazy moments in marriages, lazy times in marriages that you don't have to sit down and say, oh, he didn't wash the dishes. He squeezed the toothpaste wrong. He left the thing up and he should be putting it down. There are lazy moments. One comes home from work. Yes, he should have maybe helping you in the house, but he's tired. Yes, she wants to study and you just came home from work. Yes, there are lazy moments. And therefore, in marriage, when the lazy moment comes round, the other spouse should be able to fill in the blank spaces. There are things we can, as a woman, there are things I could have murmured over. I had to learn. I had to learn my own ways, that they were not always right. Yes, I want to be, but sometimes wanting to be has allowed us to be in a position that we are lonesome. We get lonely at the top. We get lonely even being at the bottom. You get lonely being cast at the side. It doesn't matter which side they throw you. You get lonely sometimes. So trying to just be won't help any one of us. And yes, we talk so much, oh, the first lady, oh, she's the first lady of the church. Sometimes the first lady don't make no sense even. She's only clothes in a clothes of the bishop himself, but she ain't no first lady because she's not doing the work of the first lady, because the first lady's job starts in the home. It rides out, it comes out, and one sees it in the ministry. The first lady don't have to always sit beside her bishop. She can take on the role of being the child minder in the church. A lot of you want your first lady to look corporate set up there, but too many times you have disgraced your first lady by allowing them to sit in a position that they were not supposed to be sitting in. They're supposed to be working to get where you were. Oh, she's my first lady. Oh, yes, she's your ribs. But don't sometimes your ribs hurt you too? Don't sometimes you feel a jot of a muscle pain right where your ribs are? So I try to put some of this inside here to show us that we can work together to grow the ministry, to grow the fellowship, so it be like kindred mind, like to that above. You see, I'm trying to let us also understand what God has said. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his flesh, and they become one flesh. But sometimes I realize that you're holding on to something that has no guarantee. And then you get hurt. So women are to know also to that in the lazy moments, and also the men in the lazy moment steps in. Yes, I agree. You just came from work. Some of you drive hours to get home. Oh, yes. A lot of you walk into a messy home, and yet you have a first lady living with. A lot of you walk into a home, and your husband is nowhere to be found until 12 midnight. And you are the bishop in the Lord's house. So we want us to break down this thing that we have, and to allow the marriage to work, because the marriage is also the ministry. Your marriage is ministry. It's not just a congregation that comes to hear you preach the gospel, the good news. Your marriage is also a place that needs the good news. So don't allow your home to break or tear apart because you're married to a bishop. Keep your family together in the same love, transparency, and harmony that you want the church out there, that you don't know, you don't see. You only get together on a certain day. You meet them at the door. Spreading the gospel begins at home, and the church should be considered the heart of this union. You know, I want us to understand you cannot neglect one another in the areas of need and still claim to be a child of God. You cannot, because you're not. The service rendered as home is most critical, crucial, valuable, acceptable, and likewise in the congregation of 2 or 3 witnesses. Never allow it to be a problem of who serve. Too many of us have lost the will to even marry again because we do not understand the principles. And many of us are standing on the podium, we're preaching, we're broken and torn, and it doesn't allow the ministry to flow. We keep on reflecting back instead of looking forward because we do not understand what we have and why we stand in the position where we stand. A lot of us, we can't talk to the first, whether first lady or first husband. We can't talk to them because why they see how we live and realize that we only blast on one side, but we have nothing to hold us on the spot where we stand. And that's why I said there are forces that wants to tear your relationship apart and keep you broken forever. So I'd love if you could really get a copy of this book. If you want to be a blessing to the Mount Olive Tabernacle Ministries, and I've got here 100 copies. If you want to be a blessing to the ministry, as I said before, it comes with shipping to you. I can send you a copy. And if you want to download it, you can go on Mount, M-O-U-N-T, Olive, O-L-I-V-E, on Cellar, SCLLAR.co, and download your copy. I want your life to be changed. This is not my words. It's all there in the scriptures for us. I'm just a vessel. I'm not selling it to build me a mansion. My mansion has already been made. A moth and rot cannot destroy it. Just support the ministry so that we can help those out there who desires to hear the gospel. On Cellar, the book is cost, the small little book is cost $30 US. So if you want me to send you a copy, you can inbox me, you can get through to me, you pay through PayPal, you send me through Western Union. If you're here in Zurich and you read English, you can also twint me. And you can get a copy of this book. I know without a shadow of a doubt, not because I want to sell this book. I know without a shadow of a doubt, this book will help you. About God books that I'm ready to put out also too. I want you to get a copy of this. All leaders, women and men, even those who have been struggling in their marriage life and do not understand the concept, you can also get this book to help you. Husbands, wives, those who are trying to be the man in their house when they are women, the men who wants to be king in their house when they do not even understand how to be the groom. I want you to get a copy of this book. It's not just for the church. It's for the entire Catholic, Apostolic, you name it, Orthodox, you, all of us. This book belongs to the kingdom, and God's people are in it. I want this book to be able to help you. See, at the back of the book, you can even scratch in your notes. If you want to dedicate this book to someone that you know, you can buy it and give it as a gift to someone else, so that you can understand what it is like. I want us to get to the root of the problem that we are facing in our marriage, to understand the fact that you cannot neglect one another in the areas of their need and still claim to be a child of God. You're not. You are not. This is what I have to share with you all today, and to encourage you to get married to a bishop. I can put the idea in numbers, so you can just put it in afterwards, and you can go in and get your download copy. You can even order a copy from me. The church needs us. Oh yes, the church needs us as leaders, first ladies and first husband. And this book is for, and I'm going to specify, this book is for women who are married to a man, and a man who is married to a woman, so that you can understand the unity of the faith. Realize that a lot of women nowadays are calling themselves the opposite of what they are. A spouse of a bishop must be responsible, respectful, tolerant, and hospitable to everyone. Everyone. Don't just dress to impress. Do not just dress to impress. We're God's hands and feet upon the earth. We are created to have dominion. But don't just dress to impress. We want to function in the unity of the faith. That's why we were created. Married to a bishop. Grab your copy now. Thank you all for joining, and love you with the love of the Lord. And I hope to be hearing from those who would love to order the copy directly from me. Every seed that is sown to receive this book, I know that God will replenish you 100 times more. I'm not one of them who say $30, $50, $100. No. But I'm saying if you purchase one and purchase one for a friend, I know that God will replenish you, because you're making an impact in the lives of others. And thank you for joining. I'm Archbishop Patricia D.IHESIE out of Zurich, Switzerland, representing Married to a Bishop. God bless you all. Grace and peace.